Well, boxing tonight. I'm joined by regular Ander. Good evening, Ander.
You all right, Cole?
All good, fella. All good. So let's jump straight into it, Ander. So tonight we've got quite a bit to cover. So what we're going to do is start with, we're going to review the DAZN card from the weekend. Now, I know me and you have had quite a few conversations off here about this, but let's put it on here. So, first of all, what did you think of it? And then we'll start by going through the fights, and we'll start at Johnny Fisher. So, talk to me, Andy, about the card.
It was never going to be a great card when your headlining fight pulls out as late as they do. And let's put this one to bed. He was injured, mate. I know you're not convinced. He's injured. I don't know if you've seen it. Eddie Hearn put a video out about how much money he lost on the headliner pulling out.
But let me play devil's advocate for a minute then. Yes, he's lost a lot of money, but he's gonna gain a lot of money by fighting Tyson Fury.
Oh yeah, granted. Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying.
Let's not start worrying about the purse strings.
I know exactly where you're coming from, but we've said 1,000,001 times on this channel. Dillian Whyte shies away from nobody. He fights everyone. Nah, he's not fake. He's not faking that.
I don't know. You're trying to convince me or you.
No, I honestly do believe, whether it was a massive injury or whether he just felt something and thought, I'm not taking the risk because I've got the gigantic payday coming. That might be the case. It might not have been a really bad injury, but by all accounts, he was struggling for weeks throwing shots without power. And that I can believe. I can believe he went in sparring with a bad shoulder. And it's his team that stopped him from fighting. I believe that. Why not believe that? You know what he's like. So back to the point anyway. The show is never going to be what it should be, and the empty seats proves that. They were fighting a bit of a losing battle, I'm afraid. But what it did do was it gave a massive platform for Chantel Cameron to show who she is. So there's a big positive come out of it. Even though the crowd weren't very big, there's a massive positive come out of the fact that Dillian Whyte didn't fight. So Johnny Fisher, he's a monster, mate.
Yep.
I'm really excited about what could happen. Obviously, very early days, very raw. He's got some real aggression and some real raw power. I'm quite excited about what could happen with Johnny Fisher. He's not your usual raw young heavyweight, if that makes sense. There's a lot more about him than that. You know, let's take Daniel Dubois as an example. When he was coming through, he was knocking people over for fun. But even though he was knocking people over for fun, I always thought in the back of my mind, what's he going to be like when he comes in against somebody just a little bit next level? I don't feel like that about Johnny Fisher. I reckon he can handle himself now.
Yeah, he's a fair old unit, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
To top it off, mate. To cherry on top of the cake. He's a massive ticky fella as well.
Yeah, Eddie Hearn's got to be careful with Johnny Fisher because he's in his backyard, isn't it? Down in Essex.
Wow.
You better take care of him.
He's a dream ticket, isn't he, really?
Yep.
Handled the right way. He might be his new golden boy if he handles him the right way.
So I'll just have my 10 penny on Dillian Whyte because he wasn't down the show, but you brought it up, so I'll have my say.
Well, let's hear it.
All I'm going to say is I'm not sure I wouldn't do the same if I was Dillian Whyte. So I can understand why he's hurt his shoulder and he's pulled out of the fight. Because obviously he's been waiting a long time, and don't get me wrong, nobody else deserves a title shot like Dillian Whyte does. So I admit that. But Yeah, I'm just not quite so sure about this injury. But fair play, Dylan White. A tough fight for him, real tough fight. But let's have it right. It'll be his best payday by a country mile.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't be on that much money for Joshua, would he? So I'll put that one to bed. You think he's injured? Yeah, okay. But good luck with him in the Fury fight. Move on to Johnny Fisher, massive ticket seller. Not the best footwork in the world, but he can bang, can't he? And he's a big old lump. So I think as long as Eddie Hearn match makes him right and brings him up nice and steady, like he looks like he's going to, I think he's got a career, hasn't he? He's only a young lad. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He's done nothing. He can only beat who's in front of him. So next we're going to talk about is is a bit of a bugbear of mine. Is Babic. So obviously it took 5 seconds to drop Molina. He called out Dave Allen afterwards, and I know I got a lot of stick for this on Twitter, but I'll say it on here. A motivated Dave Allen pushes Babic back and stops him. Babic is a one-trick pony. He's not heavy enough, and he's going to get found out. They're talking about him fighting Ergovic in an all-Croatian battle. Can you imagine Ergovic against him? Have a day off. So I don't know what you think, but the sooner Babic meets an active opponent, the better for me.
He's an interesting watch. I'll put it like that, right? He's an interesting watch. His press conferences and interviews and stuff are great entertainment. He clearly believes in himself. He's just not big enough. It's simple as that. He's aggressive, and he's not scared of anybody. But that was the biggest joke I've ever seen in a boxing ring. Now, this is not Babic's fault, by the way. This is Matchroom's fault, because Molina should have been nowhere near the ring. They'd had a warning about Molina in the Wardley fight.
Yeah.
But what did they do? Oh, never mind, mate. Get back up. Here's another massive payday.
Yeah. Ernad said he's not having him on another Matchroom show, hasn't he?
Should have never had him on another Matchroom show after Wardley, mate. So, but the thing is, right? Okay, he's finally woke up and smelled the coffee and realised that Molina was wanting that last little payday to put his feet upon a beach somewhere. What does that do for Babic? How does that help Babic? Anyway, it does nothing for him, mate. I mean, that wasn't even a washed up Molina. That was a. I've been retired 6 months. I've already got a mid-pipe and slippers Molina. Poor, really, 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 really poor, and it looked really bad on the show, mate. It looked really bad.
Well, it smacks parallels of Wardley, don't it? You know, Wardley and Babic are very similar. Neither of them are big enough. Neither of them punch hard enough. Yet we have to keep watching them get wheeled out against these Z-list boxers.
Yeah, I know.
Where they try and convince us that they've got some kind of career beckoning in the heavyweight division. You're having a laugh.
I don't understand why he's pushing Babic at heavyweight. I mean, he should be fighting at cruiserweight. They're on about putting him in bridgerweight. That's still too big for him.
No one cares about that weight, do they? Let's be honest.
No. Whether something comes of it eventually or not, I don't know. But this is why Babic is the exact reason why they've put the bridgerweight belt in. Because he's somebody that wants to fight at heavyweight because that's where all the money is and where all the limelight is, but he just isn't big enough.
No.
And he's one of those, mate. He's one of those that looks great against against static fighters, great against fighters that aren't going to throw back and aren't going to try and push you back.
Yeah.
Like you've already said, as soon as he comes in against somebody that's got a bit of a pulse, that has the will to take a shot and push you back, I'm not sure he's going to know what to do on the back foot.
You won't know what to do. And as limited as Dave Allen is, I like Dave Allen, by the way, but
Yeah,
as limited as he is, and motivated, I must stress that, and motivated Dave Allen, because he can fluctuate, he will push Babbage back, because he'll walk forward. He'll take one to give one, Dave Allen will. So that's where I'm coming from when I say that Dave Allen will beat Babbage.
And you know what as well? There's no bigger motivation for Dave Allen than this, because he's been at the very top. He's been on a matchroom card and then obviously retired and decided, enough's enough. And he's come back and he's fought on small old shows. And he'll miss that. He'll miss that big buzz of being on a big card in front of a big crowd. And he's been dismissed since. So there's no more motivation for him than getting himself ready and taking out Babbage, especially the way Babbage talks about him. Babbage sees him as a name on his record.
Yeah,
and that's disrespectful. Dave Allen deserves a bit more than that.
Yep. So moving on then, Andy, on to Chantel Cameron then, fight of the night for me, always going to be. So she fought against Mary McGee, who was a tough cookie herself, but just got outclassed a little bit, didn't she?
Well, I only gave McGee one round. I could argue maybe two at the very most, but every single round was competitive.
Yeah.
Even though Chantel Cameron was winning rounds clearly, McGee wasn't outclassed in the rounds because of how tough she was. She was always throwing back. But I tell you what, mate, for me, and this is a really big statement, Chantel Cameron at the minute is the best pound for pound fighter in the world, women's fighter in the world.
I'd throw Savannah Marshall in there, but so what I would say is props to that weight division, because obviously they've come up with this undisputed tournament.
Yep.
Not many divisions, male or female, would do that, where they've all thrown the belts in to the ring and said, right, let's have a dust up and find out who the best is. So props for that.
It puts male boxing to shame, don't it?
Yeah.
How long have we been shouting for the welterweight division to do the same?
Yeah. Some of these weight classes to have a good long hard look at that weight division. So yeah, Chantel Cameron, class, very classy, can bang. I like the angle she throws as well. The angle she comes from. Very, very good.
She's a proper boxer. No women man dispute. She's just a proper boxer.
Yes, very, very good. Very, very good.
And in my opinion, leagues and leagues above anything she's going to face.
So let's go on to something that we're both invested in, Andy. So we're both excited to learn that Lee Wood and Michael Conlan has now been confirmed. Obviously, we don't know much more yet in terms of dates, venues, a lot of social media flying around between the two of them. I've been in the middle of it, I've got to be honest. As Nottingham lads, God, this has got to be Nottingham, hasn't it?
Oh, well, Wood deserves it, number one. And Eddie must know that wherever he decides to put it, whether it's at the arena or whether it's at the City Ground, it sells out, mate. So you don't have to worry there. My concern is he don't do much in Ireland, does he? He don't do many shows in Ireland, and that might be in the back of his mind. He might be thinking, let's send one over there.
if I had to put my last pound on it, I'm going for either Boston or New York on St. Patrick's Day. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's a good shout, mate. Yeah. I mean, wow. In the Garden in New York. That'd be, I mean, from Lee Wood's point of view as well, that's got to be on his bucket list of places to fight, hasn't it?
I've already been in touch with the Nottingham Forest New York Supporters Club, who have offered us great hospitality should it be in New York, fella. so but that's my bet. That's my bet. Yeah, let's hope it is Nottingham because it's a little bit closer for us. But
wouldn't be a bad little weekend, would it, mate?
Yeah, I can see Jack in the sidebar. Jack, cheers for joining, fella. He's suggesting Madison Square Garden, the small hall though, not the main one. Which, again,
I don't know about that. I mean, I see where he's coming from.
I don't know what Jack thinks, but I'm getting sick of hearing that Conlon's a bigger ticket seller than Lee Wood. Lee Wood hasn't been given the opportunity to demonstrate his fan base.
No, he hasn't. No.
Not since being in major fights, anyway.
And as we'll know, mate, being from Nottingham, we're crying out for this. You know, there's not been a showpiece event as this level kind of world level event since Froch. So, I mean, we've seen some East Midlands shows ourselves recently, and we know the passion of East Midlands crowd. So, yeah, I want it to be in Nottingham, obviously. But Madison Square Garden, wow! I mean, for Wood, just to experience that as a fighter would be amazing. What's your prediction on the fight, Carl?
There's only one winner, isn't there? You know, I think Connor's not felt power like Lee Wood. I think Lee Wood stops him. Is Michael Conlon a better fighter than Zucan? No. And look what he did to Zucan. Quite an interesting scenario with Zucan, though, isn't it? Because we know
very quiet.
Well, we know, not name dropping, but having Roberto Diaz on the show like we have, that there's a rematch clause in that contract, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So that would suggest that Zucan stepped aside to allow this fight to happen with a view that he probably takes a winner.
Well, nothing's come out to say so, mate. So that's all I say.
My guess would be, this is my scenario, I think Zucan would like another tune-up fight before jumping in with Lee again. So I half expect Zucan to have a run out and then fight the winner. Maybe summertime, could always be the city ground. He fights and he'll pick the winner up out of this fight. That's my prediction. So. But so to answer your question, I think Lee Wood will stop him round 7, round 8. I think he'll break him up with body shots.
My feeling is that Eddie Earn's saving the city ground for Galahad.
Could well be. Galahad's a tricky fight for Lee Wood.
You know what? There's a lot on that fight, mate. There's a lot of history. A bit of bad blood as well, you know.
You're right, guys.
Hi, Jack.
Hey, Jack, you're right.
Yeah, not bad.
Jack,
what's your feeling on the Lee Wood fight, mate?
Who have I got on the Lee Wood fight? You know what? That's a fight I really want to see because I've not seen Conlon tested properly at all.
No.
Everyone he's gone in with has always been slightly weighted to him, and this is a genuine 50-50 fight.
Do you think? Well,
Wood gets harsh press because everyone thinks Conlon's the ticket seller. He is a ticket seller, but Wood's never been the main event, so we don't know if Wood can sell tickets.
No, that's right.
So
he'll get people to go.
Oh yeah, he'll get. The thing is about Nottingham crowds, they follow one of their own, don't they? Carl Froch had very good following.
Yeah, it's like, so I live in the northeast. We'll follow, everyone from the northeast will follow their own.
Yeah.
You just watch. Even Joe Laws and Lewis Ritson, who've both been beat, will still sell out the arena in Newcastle because,
Yeah.
and Wood's the same. He will sell out where if you have it in Nottingham. I'll tell you where I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. I don't think this will happen because I think they'll have to run it too early. I'd like to see it at Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to happen. They will. Lee Wood will get a fight at the City Ground. There's no two ways about that.
Yeah.
But I've just said to, I don't know if you heard it, but I just said to Carl, I think they'll save that for Galahad.
That would be a really good fight for that to be it, because it's about the right size. Because Galahad's not a huge ticket seller, but Wood, if you bring Wood, if Wood brings him Nottingham, it's not so far for Sheffield, so
No.
he'll bring some fans down. Wood can sell in his home city, and that works.
Jack, Galahad couldn't sell out my back garden, mate.
I know. I've watched Galahad fights, and I can understand why he doesn't sell.
The thing is, they've had to put a second world title on that Galahad card just to sell the tickets.
Yep.
There's no bones about it. That's why they've done it.
I'll tell you one fight that would sell the City Ground down, and that's Wood versus Warrington.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but Warrington could pretty much sell out anywhere at this point. Like, even though he got beat, I was in Leeds when he fought for the really anticlimactic rematch. And
Imagine the atmosphere. The Leeds fans and the Forest fans for that.
It'd be mad. What was it? There was another fight the other day that me and my mate were talking about. We were saying, "Oh, it'd be so good if we could see it," and I can't remember who it was. We were talking. I think it might have been that actually. We were saying, "Oh, how good would it be to have them fight each other?" But Warrington needs a win before that can happen.
Yeah.
I think.
Who wins then?
All with governing bodies, you can't come off a loss or something.
Yeah. Jack, who wins out of Wood and Conlon?
At the moment, I'd say Wood because I haven't seen Conlon tested, but then it's very, very close. That's the thing. For me, it's a 50-50 fight. I wouldn't be massively shocked if Conlon won, but for me, I'd make Wood the slight favourite going in just because he's actually been in with for the Zupan thing, whereas I don't believe that Conlon's been in with anyone really.
Well, Conlon's not knocking Lee Wood out because he ain't got the power. So what are you thinking? He beats him over 12?
Yeah, if he's going to win, it's going to be on points. But if Wood wins, I wouldn't be overly surprised if for Wood to win he stops him late. He's not going to blow him out in a round. Like, let's not pretend Conlon's rubbish because he's not. But if there's going to be a stoppage, it'll be Wood. There is a chance Conlon beats him on points, particularly if it's in New York, because the crowd will be on Conlon's side. I've been out there when Irish fighters fight in New York. It's mad.
Yeah.
What you were saying about Madison Square Garden, that could work for the main one, but they would have to put a big undercard on underneath it, because I mean, it worked for Canelo having Canelo fielding, but Canelo sold that fight.
Of course.
Otherwise, that would not have sold in them.
Yeah.
Building.
What does the main arena hold, Jack? Do you know? It's about 30,000. Sorry?
19,000.
19, right.
And Conlon's...
But I thought Conlon was this big ticket seller from Belfast that sells out stadiums, though, Jack.
He might sell out something over here, but I don't think he'd sell out in New York. He's a name-ish, but America has a weird relationship with boxing at the moment.
Yeah.
Unless you're Stevenson, probably Bud Crawford, maybe Spence. or Canelo, you aren't selling out really.
Americans will go to that fight. Irish Americans will go to the fight just because it's an Irish fighter.
Some will, but not. It's not Kate. It's not someone like Katie Taylor, or if when he was fighting North. I know he's Northern Irish, but not. It's not Katie Taylor. It's not Frampton. So they're not gonna. You won't get people flying from LA like you would with that.
But
You don't need to have to because of the Irish, the massive Irish contingent in New York.
It does 19,000, Jack.
Yeah.
I mean,
It does 19,000, definitely.
Yeah, if it can do it, then they can put it in. But as you say, if they did it on St. Patrick's Day, it may well do that. Because St. Patrick's Day in New York, it would be one heck of an occasion, wouldn't it?
It would, especially when Leewood knocks him out in front of the Irish fans on St. Patrick's Day. I'll raise a glass of Guinness. Don't worry about that. So, like I've said, I can't see Conlon being able to withhold Leewood power. So, I'm round 7. You heard it here first.
It's a fight I want to see. Put it that way.
My feeling on it, Jack, is very similar to Carl. Leewood's come on massively in the last year and a half. And you've got to give a lot of props to Ben Davison for seeing what Leewood's actually got under the bonnet, because a lot of people have had Leewood. There's been a number of coaches that have had Leewood, and none of them have picked up the fact that he punches as hard as he does. They've all had him as this back foot fighter. His record doesn't show he's a massive puncher because he's fought on the back foot for 99% of his career. All of a sudden, he goes to Davison, and Ben Davison's gone on record as saying, pound for pound, he's the hardest puncher he's got in the gym.
Do you know what? Going into it, you have to look at everyone Ben Davison seems to get. He gets the best out of them and knows what to do with them. So, I've only met Ben in part, but like, he has got to be considered one of those top tier trainers at this point. And what he's done with Leewood, that was Leewood's best performance of his career. So let's see how much further Leewood can go. That's to me.
Well, like I said, I think he beats Conlon, but I don't think Conlon walks out of the 8th.
I think Leewood breaks him down and stops him late. I think he stops him in the 10th.
As I say, the only way the way I see Conlon being able to win it for me, and I'm not saying he will or he won't, but I'm saying because to me it's a very close fight. The only way I see Conlon winning it is on points. I can't see him stopping Leewood.
Yeah.
Because I'll give Leewood, and I don't know if this is a Nottingham thing because you're both from Nottingham, aren't you?
Yep.
I don't know if it's a Nottingham thing because my only real sort of fighter knowledge in Nottingham is Froch, but he has the fight of the dog, Leewood, and Froch had it as well. That he does not know when he's beat, and even when Woods has been in hard fights before, he didn't know he was beat, and that's to me that's impressive, and that's why I don't think I don't think that you can write him off for a single second of any round.
Do you think Conlon's skillful enough to beat him on points? Because if he does, he's got to outbox him for the majority of the fight.
He's a very skillful boxer. He's the kind of guy, and this is me talking as a matchmaker now, he's the kind of guy that, as a matchmaker, you'd have been sitting there going, oh, for God's sake, I've got to match him again. Because he was such a skillful boxer that no one coming through would wanted to fight him. Which is kind of good for Wood because because Conlon will never have had the experience because a lot of the tougher journey, like sort of gatekeeper fighters, won't have wanted to fight Conlon because of his boxing ability as opposed to his puncher. striking ability. So it means when he goes in with Lee Wood at a disadvantage because he's not been in with the skill, the fighters that want to bite down, because without a belt they don't want to do it.
Does Lee Wood Jack? Does Lee Wood beat Galahad?
I honestly, and this is, I've got to be careful in case I end up having to work with either of them. For me, I would back both of them to beat Galahad. Although I did believe Galahad beat Warrington in the first fight.
I said that.
I had winning that first fight.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
But I do believe Conlon and just styles make fights. I believe Conlon and Lee Wood could beat Galahad. Yeah.
So you're matchmaking up in the northeast end, Jack? Yeah.
Not necessarily the northeast. I'm just helping out different promoters. Like I was helping out in London last weekend at the MTK show in York Hall.
Yep. So
I did the Shiloh de Freitas pro debut that everyone keeps raving about on Twitter. Which is
so if you look on our channel on YouTube, you'll see that we've had a couple of matchmakers on the channel. We've had Bruce Trampler and Roberto Diaz. Now, they're not too bad individuals to learn your craft from, are they?
No, Diaz particularly is just the man has forgotten more about boxing than most people would even know. I mean, there's some. It's funny when you look at some of the American guys that have been and like guys that have, and some of the British guys as well that have been in it a long time. You look at them and you go, how are you this knowledgeable? Like they could. I will look fights up and look fighters up and look fight footage up before I put them to a promoter. They just know it. They know it off the back of their head. They don't even have to look them up anymore.
It's just experience, isn't it?
So what promoters are you working with then, Jack, on a regular basis?
Mostly at the moment, I'm working with Lee Eaton and MTK.
Yeah, we've had Leon. Yeah, good guy, Lee is.
So he messaged me randomly and said, "Look, I can help you out because I'm new to it. I'm going to help you out." And just every so often, he might message me and get me to help him out. And it's not like I'm working for MTK or anything.
No.
It's just he said, "Look, I like you because you're into boxing. You're a boxing fan doing this. You're not doing it for the wrong reasons." And I respect him for that because he could have just gone, "All right, who's this kid? Why are you?" Because I actually just messaged him asking for advice, and he sort of helped me out. Obviously, I can't say some of the stuff I'm working on.
No.
I can say the De Freitas one because it's already happened. So, and Shiloh knew I did it because I chatted to him afterwards.
Good effort though, Jack. I mean, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
24. So I'm the youngest in Britain. I'm the youngest matchmaker in Britain.
So what me and Andy are thinking then, if we ever need tickets, then we know who to be tapping up then, don't we, Jack?
Well, I haven't figured out how to get my own first, apart from shows I'm working on. Like, the ones I'm working on, obviously, I just message and say, "Look, I'm gonna come. So can you?" Like, I went down to York Hall from the North East, and it was quite cool. So that was quite cool, and I took my mate with me because he comes everywhere with me boxing wise. Mate of mine, he comes to a lot of fights with me, and so as this was the first show I'd had a fight on, I said, "Oh, come with me to York Hall," because he lives down south where I'm from. So we went out to South London, watched it, and he said he's never seen me more nervous than when Shiloh. He said, "It's weird, you're nervous for a pro debut." I went, "Yeah, because I get it in the neck if it all goes wrong." Yeah. Luckily, he was as good as I thought he was. Otherwise, I would have been.
I mean, did you watch the episode where Roberto Diaz spoke about how he actually got into boxing?
No, I've only watched a little bit of it because I've been making fun most of the day.
Roberto Diaz must be and he won't mind me saying this, must be the luckiest guy I know. So I won't spoil the surprise for you, but I suggest you find the first video where we had Roberto Diaz on. He talks about how he got into boxing. I'm sure Andy would agree. Andy, how fortunate was Roberto Diaz?
Yeah, very fortunate at the very beginning. And he says so himself. And let me just say for the record, what an humble guy.
What? Yeah, world class.
Yeah,
Well,
unbelievable. But what a career he's forged for himself since that very early start.
This is something I'll say about boxing, and this was really evident on Friday when I was in York Hall. But the amount of fighters or ex-fighters who come up to you and they'll chat to you, and they didn't know that I was what I was when they started chatting to us. They just chatting to me and my mate when we were sat. And I mean, Spencer Fearon came over and spoke to us. A lot of the fighters on the card came over and spoke to us. Jordan Reynolds, Shiloh, obviously. And then I told Shiloh I made the fight, and he went, "Oh, cheers for that." It's like, yeah.
Jack, you made me want a name drop, Jack. Do you want me to raise you on the name dropping stakes?
You're going to be able to raise me. I haven't got, yeah.
No, you're right about the boxing fraternity, though. We've seen it on this channel, haven't we, Andy, where we've had... Let me just throw a few names out there to you, me, Jack. Paul Smith Jr. Paul Smith Jr. is one of the nicest guys, and he's kind of given some of his time. What a guy. What a guy.
He follows Twitter now, strangely. I don't know. Just randomly, I replied to something he put the other day, and I think I agreed with him, and he followed me. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a nice fella.
Nice guy.
He's a top guy, but there's not, like I said...
On a bit of a tangent here, Cole, do you want to get back onto the third topic that we've got?
Yeah, so Jack, while we got you on, we won't keep you much longer, but we'll get your thoughts on the next topic.
Go on, then.
Is there only one place to go in there?
I wondered when this was going to come up.
So, give us your breakdown then, Jack. And what I'll do, I'll throw a bit of a curveball in.
Go on.
How does Plant win? Can he even win?
How does Plant win? I mean, it's boxing, so one punch can change everything. But he's gonna have to show me more than he's ever showed me before. Because, and this is gonna sound really harsh, of the three, I thought he was marginally the weakest champion out of Smith, Saunders, and Plant. With obviously Canelo in that as well, but I thought he was the weakest of the three. Not by a lot. Like, I would actually have liked to see him fight Saunders and see him fight Smith, because I thought it would be a close fight. But to me, Canelo is Plant is tailor made for Canelo, because the way he's going to fight will play into Canelo.
He hasn't really fought no one.
What?
He hasn't really fought anybody, has he? Look at his resume.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
He's thought world level, but not world class, if that makes sense.
There's no, in my opinion, there's no one on Plant's resume that makes me think even slightly that he's got a chance against Canelo.
No, I think he'll last, and this isn't a dig at Rocky because I love Rocky, but I think he'll last longer than Rocky did. I don't think he lasts as long as Saunders.
I don't think he's the second
5 rounds and he's done. I think 5 rounds. I'm going. He doesn't come out to the 6th.
There's so much noise. There's so much noise in boxing at the minute that he's the best champion that Canelo's faced. It's not even close to being the best champion Canelo's faced.
I mean, the best champion Canelo's faced isn't even at that weight.
No.
I love all of them. The best champion Canelo's faced is either Gennady Golovkin or Sergey Kovalev. And I know Kovalev was fading by that point, but I'm talking in terms of their whole careers. Kovalev or Golovkin, just for what they've achieved.
Well, Mayweather's the best champion, isn't he? By a mile.
Actually, I always forget because that was back in his career.
Yeah, I mean, Canelo was a baby, really, in terms of where he is now. if Canelo fought Mayweather, now there'd be a completely different scenario.
I mean, Canelo taking on someone that young, I think looking back on it with hindsight, it shows you how good Canelo is, because can you think about, what was he, 21 when he fought Mayweather?
Yeah.
So can you imagine if you said to a 21-year-old today, right, you're going to go in and you're going to fight Lomachenko or you're going to fight Canelo?
Well, it wouldn't happen, would it?
No, I mean, all right, Devin Haney nearly did it with Lomachenko, but other than that,
Yeah.
and Haney's a little bit like Canelo, and he turned pro very young. That's the only reason you can do that. But the Mayweather fight was almost a different Canelo, because he was still a developing into a man at that point. You know.
I know, but people talk. I know we get some interference about that, but people talk about people doing Mayweather to Canelo. There's only one Mayweather. You know, not everyone can do that to what Mayweather did.
We'll never get another Mayweather in the same way we'll never get another Ali.
No.
It's people keep comparing people to this guy and that guy of eras. Like people, the one that annoyed me in the build up to Wilder Fury was they kept comparing Wilder to Mike Tyson. He's not. He hits hard, yeah, but he's not Tyson because he doesn't have that fear factor. And it's the same with Canelo and Mayweather. People compare them; they're completely different fighters. I mean,
Well, put it like put it like this: Golovkin landed clean on Canelo on more than one occasion, and Golovkin hits really, really hard.
Yeah.
And Canelo took that shot and came back.
Canelo took that shot, and Canelo took a shot at light heavyweight from Sergey Kovalev, and he was still there. You know, he's not going to get. People say about Plant hitting hard. He's not going to get. He's not going to get Canelo out of there with one shot.
No.
The way he would have to get Canelo out of there is a flurry of punches. Is Canelo going to stand there and get caught without throwing back for a flurry of punches? I don't think so. That's why I can't see Plant doing it. People say Plant hits hard. Yeah, lots of people hit hard. Doesn't mean you're going to get Canelo out of there.
No.
It's not impossible, but I would give Plant as little chance as I give any fighter. Because any fighter, and this isn't a dig at Plant at all, because respect to him for doing this fight. He could have just held the one belt hostage and we never get undisputed. But
so what's your prediction then, Jack?
Sorry?
What's your prediction?
I don't think Plant comes out for the 6th round.
What about you, Andy? Sorry, Jack.
Go on, carry on, Jack.
That's right, I know we're picking up some interference on it.
I don't know where it's coming from either.
No, I don't.
My prediction is that Plant doesn't see the second half of the fight.
Round
Yeah,
4.
around the same area.
Yeah.
I think we've accepted for 1 or 2 rounds Canelo's going to fight for the pain, and then it's just up.
So with the audio issues, what I'm going to do to bring it to a close, Jack, I'd like to really thank you for coming on, fella. Okay, but and hopefully we can have you on again soon, mate. All right, cheers for joining.
Yeah, cool. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot, Jack.
Cheers, Jack. Right.
That's cleared off now.
I suspected it might have been Jack's mobile.
Yeah, it's a shame because he had some good thoughts there. We'll have to get him back on again.
Yeah, so I just conscious that I jumped out and in, and it didn't change anything. So, Andy, I think we've brought it to an end there, fella. I think it's been a good show. So we'll be on again next week. I don't know if you want to do a bit of a teaser about who we got coming on next week without naming names again, like we normally do.
Oh wow! Massive interview coming up. One that I'm going to be very, very proud of doing as well, because this guy is an absolute genuine boxing man. Lives, eats, breathes. It runs through his veins. And he's probably the most respected man in boxing throughout the business. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so that interview was due to drop probably next Saturday. That will probably drop out. So it's well worth keeping an eye out for that one, guys. I would say this boxing personality is in the same sort of league as Mr. Diaz, so we're very fortunate to have him on the channel.
Yeah.
I would like to give the name of an individual, but I'm not going to. So, as ever, like, comment, subscribe. Keep an eye on Last Bail Boxing. We've got a lot of material coming. A lot of local Nottinghamshire boxing coming. I know that's not a surprise for everybody, but we're a big believer in supporting small all shows on the channel as well. So we cover the full spectrum of boxing.
For those of you who haven't seen it, we covered a local show Sunday afternoon. There's some interviews from the venue, post-fight interviews with some real great young talent coming through. They're on our channel, so check them out.
Okay, I'll let you say try, Andy.
Great to see you again, mate. Look forward to a productive show next week. We've got other things coming up as well next week. Places we're going to go and visit, people we're going to go and see, and it all bodes well for the future.
And just like Jack, who jumped on tonight, anybody can jump on the show. As you can see, banter, debate, all things boxing. That's what we're here to do. Last Bell Boxing, same time next week, 9 p.m. Adios.